Welcome back once again as we, of course, are witnessing the COMESA summit that is being held in Kenya. Of course, on behalf of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, Prime Minister Dr. Mustafa Madbouli chaired Egypt's delegation to the summit of Common Market for East and South African countries, like I earlier said, COMESA. And of course, addressing the summit, Madbouli said that Egypt believes that regional integration is a cornerstone of achieving a sustainable development, and a lot more important points. Very delighted to be joined over the phone by His Excellency Ambassador Rakha Hassan, former Assistant Foreign Minister. Good afternoon, Your Excellency.
Good afternoon to you and all the audience.
Our real pleasure, sir. So, what exactly makes this theme, leveraging digitalization and deepening regional value chains for sustainable and inclusive growth? What exactly that makes this theme this year relevant for Africa's current economic landscape?
Well, in fact, the COMESA is considered one of the regional organizations in Africa. Particularly, its interest is on the trade, economic, and the investments, and to develop the resources and in African countries. And these members of the COMESA, in fact, they have a very rich natural resources, but they still need to cooperate together, especially with the countries which has achieved development in their countries, like Egypt, for example, Kenya, and Uganda, and some other countries, to help them to, to develop their societies and to make the complete or full development in economic, social, and particularly the education and the health and the technical training. So this is to make a complementary regional area. And now many, not many, I mean some countries of the COMESA, like for example Somalia and the Sudan and Libya, they have conflict, internal conflict, which affects their factual or essential participation now, and even they need help to stop this fighting, because it affects too much the flow of the trade among all the COMESA countries.
Right, so COMESA has grown to 21 member states now, or member countries, representing over 600 million people now. How significant is this market potential for transforming the intra-African trade and investment from your own perception?
Well, really, but it has now come to, I think, 19 countries, because Tanzania withdrew from the COMESA, and I think Angola also. So now it is about 19 countries. But it is scattered. For example, we have the two Congos, the Democratic Congo, the Congo Kinshasa, and the other Congo Brazzaville. It is in the west of the continent. And also Libya and Egypt in the north, and the Sudan and the rest of the countries in the east and the middle of Africa. They need the transportation of trade and whether by roads or by air or by ship. So this is an obstacle. The other thing which affects the flow of the trade among these countries, it's the financial aspect, I mean the monetary aspect, because most of these countries, if not all, their currencies are not, transactions to the international currencies. So this is another obstacle which should be solved by the central banks and the commercial banks in these countries. But anyhow, the future of this group is very promising, but it needs, first of all, to solve the crisis in the sub-countries, because the crisis in South Sudan affects most of the East African countries, and also the differences between Egypt and Ethiopia, for example. It affects also the relation between these countries. The situation in Libya. So I think through the African Union, they can help the Arab League and the international community to solve the problems and the crisis in these countries, to overcome one of the difficulties which hinder the flow of trade among these countries.
Exactly. So from your own point of view, Ambassador Rakha, how does the Nairobi summit reflect the growing unity and solidarity, shared aspirations among the COMESA member states in Africa?
Yes, this time they are raising the prospect of that they can reach the to the flow of the industrial materials or industrial products, I mean, among the countries, if it is it has in its continents about maybe 60% or 65% to be exempted from the tariffs, as they have done before with the agricultural production. But it still is difficult, because most of the countries, they depended too much upon the importing from the industrial countries the components of their industries, whether it is house industries or any other industry.
Right. Given the fact that Egypt is a key member of the COMESA, what lessons could be drawn from Egypt's experience on a large scale, I mean, when it comes to the infrastructural projects, the digital transformation projects, and that could be somehow replicated on the COMESA African member countries?
In fact, Egypt is the biggest country in the COMESA, and also the most developed in industrial agriculture and also in technology. And Egypt provides, I think, all the COMESA countries with experts, whether in education, in health, in engineering, in many fields, through the Egyptian Agency for Permanent Development. And also Egypt has experience in the infrastructure, which is badly needed in Africa and especially in these countries, and also to make a net of routes to connect the neighboring countries of the COMESA. We have in the East Africa, almost all the countries except Tanzania are members of the COMESA. So, and they are neighbors. So if it is connected with highways, and it is an aim since the 19th century that could be make a road, I mean a main central highway from Cairo to Cape Town. But still the problem is two things. First of all, the financing. The second and the most important, guarantee security. But still, Egypt is the most leading country in the COMESA, and especially in its development plans and its contribution to all the countries of this organization.
Right. So Egypt has long been a driving force in COMESA and hosting the COMESA Regional Investment Agency and supporting regional connectivity projects. If you can, how do you assess Egypt's weight when it comes to COMESA?
Well, I think we need to more coordination, as I said, for the facilitating trade and investments. Still, the instability on one side and the lack of confidence on the other side, and also the difficulties of the communication, I mean the transportation, is still, it has to be overcome by the cooperation, through cooperation with the African Bank and with the International Bank and with all the financial international organizations, to overcome these obstacles which hinder the development and the cooperation among the COMESA countries.
Right. Ambassador Rakha, in what ways you think does Egypt maybe is visioning or vision already for digital transformation, industrialization and sustainable development goals, and the vital ones, especially standing up to the climate change and the scarcity of water and child labor maybe, and gender inequality, and all these things that Africa is very much interested in. How is that also aligning with COMESA's priorities?
Well, Egypt is always cooperating with whether with the COMESA or with the African countries in the climate conferences, and because
probably because those are common. I mean, I mentioned, the reason I mentioned those targets is because they are common problems shared between African countries.
Yes, I mean the climate change, this is caused by the industrialized countries.
Of course. And
then the bad results comes to the African countries by changing for example, the seasons of the rains in African countries, because south of the Sahara, most of the African countries, they depend on irrigation by rains, not like us who have artificial irrigation and the dams. But they don't have this. They depend mainly on the rains. So if the rains change, and then there is a drought and there is a catastrophic phenomenon in many other countries, and the desertation also in other countries. So what they need, the help of the international organization on one hand, and also the industrialized countries to provide them with the modern machine, and not to contaminate the weather and to cause all these troubles.
But in Africa also eradicating forests and illegal hunting, which is also harming the ecosystem and the biological balance, and that causes immediately the deforestation, causes the climate change. I mean, there are real problems, root problems that are already present in Africa and needs a lot of elaboration by the member states to be able to look up to excellent experiences or successful experiences maybe taken to be able to stand up to those challenges.
Yes, I agree with you, but this depends first upon education and the culture in the
awareness,
African countries. Because most of them, they are tribes, and they depend on getting money from the tourists who come to hunt from the European countries and the other countries to come to hunt the animals.
And that's why the laws has to be harshened, for example.
Well, actually they care verbally, but in fact, in practice, they don't follow the practice to be protected, to have a protection. For example, there are many countries for the elephants to protect them because they
sanctuaries.
They eat their meat in Africa.
Exactly.
And also they use the ivory and the many things also. And also for the forest cuttings, I think is not so wide in Africa. In Brazil, it is the most difficult situation because Brazil is considered one of the main protection by its forest to the world weather and to the earth, stability in climate.
Exactly.
But it's in Africa, to some extent, yes, but it's because they still have vast land to be cultivated, but they need the help of some more advanced countries like Egypt and the other countries.
Right. Thank you so much. On that note, we're going to be ending it here. Ambassador, Your Excellency, Ambassador Rakha Hassan, former Assistant Foreign Minister, thank you so much talking to us on Nile TV, and you have a good day.